Well, it's been yet another insane week in AI news. So insane, in fact, that putting out our normal video clips, the news clips that we normally put up on the site, it would just be over a half an hour and it would bore the living heck out of everybody. So today we're going to cover each of the headlines, FaceTime, and we're going to try to synthesize these huge news updates into some form of an entertaining and palatable format. So without further ado, let's get to it. So let's start off with model news. Three huge drops this week. Anthropic drops Claude Opus 4.6. OpenAI unleashes GPT 5.3 Codex, and Kling 3.0 goes live on Higgsfield. First, let's talk about Kling 3.0. This is a video generating beast, and it's on the level of Google's Genie, if not surpassing it. It's just insane the level of realism and depth that this model can create. Many are saying that this is the death of advertisement production because you can literally create high-def productions with a single prompt. It's live on Higgsfield right now, so you can try it out for yourself. It truly is mind-blowing. Next, let's cover Claude Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.3 Codex. Both of these models dropped on the same day, and they're in direct competition with each other, and they are taking the coding world by storm. Some examples of what has already been created. One user used Opus 4.6 to create an entire Reddit platform for himself in 5 minutes. Another used GPT 5.3 Codex to create a GTA emulator, and holy cow was it amazing, down to the physics, sounds, lighting. The key takeaways from these model drops, plain and simple: autonomous agentic coding. These models can work in agent teams and they can do it autonomously. What these models are is a peek into not just the future, but the current reality of coding. We essentially can already and are definitely going to be able to vibe code any type of app, game, or program that we desire in minutes. From front end to back end, these agentic coding models are simply remarkable, and they are completely changing the way we live, the way we program, and the way we're going to experience computers or gaming or programming in the future. So let's cover market news next. The big one for gamers and PC enthusiasts is that NVidia has reportedly decided to skip new gaming GPU releases in 2026, and they cite severe memory shortage, quote unquote, and prioritization of AI over GeForce. I've said for a while now that the PC industry is coming to its end, and it's going to be replaced by AI. The memory shortage, which is brutal, is literally because of AI. And now we're seeing no new GPU releases for 2026, and it's only January. Remember seeing this when it becomes clear that PC gaming has done a face flop, because you heard it here first. And that leads us into the next headline. Anthropic's agentic plugins drop triggers a massive 300 plus billion software stock bloodbath in a single session. Again, we're hitting the AI agentic apocalypse, and this is a huge indicator. Gaming as we know it currently, it's dying. And software development as we know it, the very same. This is the very first hello world moment introducing it to the common person. And speaking of indicators, Google smashes $400 billion annual revenue milestone. And in the process, they announced that almost half of that $400 billion revenue is being reinvested into what, you might ask? Yep, artificial intelligence. If that doesn't tell you where the world is headed, I'm not sure what will. When one of the world's largest companies literally reinvest its revenue back into AI, they're saying that all bets are off except for one: artificial intelligence. And Google is nailing the AI world right now. Pure dominance, at least currently. And now let's talk about the model wars. First off, Google's Gemini app surpasses 750 million monthly active users. This is huge because Google already not only has the entire Android market sewn up, but also the iOS now. That means that they literally have front door integration into 99% of cell phone users. When I said Google is nailing the AI world right now in a dominant fashion, 750 million current users is already eating heavily into GPT's user base, and it's just the beginning. And speaking of ChatGPT, Their US mobile market share, according to Aptopia, has fallen from 69% in 2025 to 45% in 2026, while Gemini and Grok are surging. No matter how OpenAI tries to spin this, it's clear the king is desperately losing ground to Gemini and Grok, and the bleeding is accelerating here in early 2026. I'm calling it here right now. The AI race, it's two companies, Google and xAI. These are the juggernauts that are going to power AI into 2027. And speaking of xAI, their merger with SpaceX has now been officially confirmed, putting these two powerhouses under one roof while Elon Musk's rocket and AI empire come together. And just before this merger, SpaceX announced that they're seeking approval for up to 1 million satellites to build the world's largest orbital data center. This is where AI is headed. It's not just Elon, but many experts in the AI industry have said that terrestrial energy and compute are simply not adequate for AI's needs. Space is where AI's true compute is going to be, and SpaceX is already seeking approval to drive the entire planet into orbit. These are just insane times. And finally, we have to mention NVidia and OpenAI and their little fuss up. NVIDIA announced that they're backing away from a $100 billion OpenAI investment, and they're citing leadership doubts and competition fears, i.e. Google and xAI. And they're hedging instead for incremental investments versus a huge chunk like $100 billion. So what does AI do? They bite back, and they leak that they're unhappy with NVIDIA's chip performance. It's like we said on the news site, this is a very, very bold move by OpenAI. NVIDIA controls roughly 90% of the very coveted AI chip market, and even hinting at criticizing this company is extremely bad optics, to say the least. We'll see what shakes out, but if OpenAI loses chip prioritization, it could spell huge trouble for ChatGPT. And now I'm going to let GP finish out this video with the health, physics, and miscellaneous bombshells that came out this week.
FDA greenlights first human trial for age-reversing gene therapy. Life Biosciences announced FDA clearance of its IND application for ER100, a pioneering gene therapy using partial epigenetic reprogramming to rejuvenate damaged cells and restore vision in optic neuropathies like glaucoma. This marks the first-ever human clinical trial of cellular rejuvenation via reprogramming, targeting age-related decline at the epigenetic level without altering DNA. Co-founded by Harvard's David Sinclair, the therapy has shown vision restoration in preclinical primate models. Phase 1 trials begin Q1 2026, testing safety and efficacy in patients. David Kipping reveals IAS bombshell. AI handles 90% of elite physicists' work. Astronomer David Kipping of Cool World's lab shared details of a closed-door meeting at the Institute for Advanced Study, or IAS, where top physicists openly discussed AI's dominance. One senior faculty claimed models already intellectually handle around 90% of his capabilities, demonstrated cutting-edge research via simple prompts, and surrendered digital life to agents for massive productivity gains, dismissing privacy losses. Kipping expressed unease. Future breakthroughs from superintelligence may be incomprehensible to humans, turning science into magic. He warned elite institutes are holding emergency meetings on this threat to human intellectual supremacy, signaling a fundamental shift is here now. China launches commercial pilotless flying taxi era. China has officially launched its commercial pilotless flying taxi era, with the Civil Aviation Administration of China granting operational certificates to Ehang Holdings and Hefei Airlines. These companies are authorized to conduct commercial passenger-carrying flights using autonomous electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, marking a major milestone in urban air mobility. The drones will initially operate for sightseeing and passenger services in cities like Guangzhou and Hefei. The certification indicates that these vehicles meet strict CAAC technical and safety standards for unmanned commercial operations. China commissions world's largest 1 gigawatt open-sea floating solar farm. China has fully commissioned the world's largest open-sea floating solar project off Dongying, Shandong, a massive 1 gigawatt megafarm by CHN Energy that turns vast ocean patches into clean power plants. Spanning thousands of fixed-pile platforms, it generates enough electricity to power millions of homes annually, withstands harsh marine conditions, and blends with aquaculture. Viral buzz exploded as Elon Musk replied, "Wow" to aerial shots, with posters calling it ludicrous mode solar scaling, highlighting China's relentless push for abundant renewable energy amid global AI compute demands.
So that's the news for this week, February 1st through the 8th. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently on the site coming up here. There's simply too much AI news coming out to make 1 to 2 minute video clips for every single headline. So I'm still going to update the site with the news, and you're going to see all the headlines, but I'm only going to make the AI clips for the biggest news. And then at the end of the week, I'm going to do a FaceTime summary on the news, just like this video was done today. Don't worry, we've got some really cool things coming up for the news website, and they're going to blow your mind. So keep checking Kgoat AI News every day for your daily AI news updates. Until then, Kgoat signing off.